All right, let's jump right in.
You know, whenever you're planning a trip, scrolling through photos, picking a destination, you're doing more than just planning a vacation. You're actually casting a vote in this massive, kind of hidden global competition. Every single country is out there fighting for your attention, your time, and yeah, your money. So the big question is, how is this battle actually won? Let's get into it.
So to really get a sense of the scale we're talking about, just look at this number, 1.5 billion. That's how many international tourist arrivals there were back in 2019, right before the world turned upside down. That is a truly mind-boggling number of people moving around the globe, and every single one of them represents a potential win for some country's tourism industry.
And of course, where all those people go, a ton of money follows. In that same year, we're talking about $2.9 trillion. That's what tourism pumped directly into the global GDP. This isn't just some side business, you guys. It's one of the most powerful economic engines on the entire planet.
Okay, so this brings us right back to the central question, right? With so much at stake in a world just jam-packed with options, how does any single country manage to win your visit? I mean, it's got to be more than just having a pretty beach or a famous old building. And you'd be right. It's a deeply calculated strategy. So to really understand this competition, we've got to figure out what's actually being sold. And it's not as simple as, selling a country or selling a city. The experts have a specific term for it. They call it a tourist product.
Now, a tourist product isn't one singular thing. It's not like buying a souvenir. Think of it as the entire package. It's everything from the moment you leave your house till the moment you get back. It's the flight, the hotel, the museums you visit, the restaurants you eat at, even the taxi rides. It's the whole shebang, the sum of every single part of your trip. And we can actually break this big product down into three basic layers. First up, you've got your core attractions. These are the headliners, the big reasons you decided to go in the first place. Think the Eiffel Tower, the pyramids, a famous beach. Then, you've got the secondary amenities. This is all the stuff you need while you're there to have a good time. Hotels, restaurants, shops. And finally, there's the supporting infrastructure. This is the foundation of the whole trip. The airports, the roads, public transport, and just that general feeling of safety. And here's the key. A country has to get all three of these right if it really wants to compete.
Okay, so if every country is competing with these really complex products, how in the world do we keep score? Well, believe it or not, there's actually an official scorecard for this whole thing. It's called the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index, or TTCI for short, and it's put out by the World Economic Forum. You can basically think of this as the Olympics of tourism rankings. It's the gold standard for figuring out who's winning the race. And listen, this index is incredibly detailed. It's not just a simple list. The 2019 report, for instance, ranked 140 different countries based on 90, that's 90, different indicators. We're talking about everything from the number of World Heritage sites to the quality of the roads to airport density. It's a mix of hard data from big international organizations and surveys from business executives who are actually on the ground.
Okay, and this is where our little explainer takes a really fascinating turn. Let's actually use this powerful scorecard to zoom in on one specific country, Turkey.
I mean, just think about Turkey for a second. Your mind probably goes to ancient ruins, amazing history, stunning coastlines, incredible food, right? You'd assume it's an absolute powerhouse, a top-tier player, especially when it comes to those core attractions we just talked about.
But then, you look at the actual data from that 2019 TTCI report, and things get weird. Sure, for cultural heritage, Turkey's crushing it, ranked 5th and 11th in the world, which is amazing. But then you look at its natural assets, and the scores just plummet. 87th for the attractiveness of its natural assets, and get this, 137th out of 140 countries for its total protected areas. I mean, how is that even possible?
Yeah, the researchers who dug into this data were just as baffled. They put it pretty bluntly. The results, and I'm quoting them here, are extremely surprising. It just doesn't seem to match up with the reality of a country that is so famously beautiful.
So this leads to a really important question. If the numbers feel, well, just plain wrong, maybe the problem isn't with Turkey. Maybe the problem is with the scorecard itself. And sure enough, when you start digging into how the sausage is made, you find some potential cracks in the system. For one, some of the data isn't hard numbers. It's based on the perceptions of business leaders, which can always be a bit subjective. But even more critically, the data that comes from these big international groups can sometimes be out of date, or in some cases just wrong. That abysmal ranking for total protected areas, for example,
The researchers found it was based on, and I'm quoting again, extremely incomplete calculations.
So what's the big takeaway here? If the main global scorecard can have flaws like this, then relying on it alone to build your national tourism strategy is a pretty risky game. It suggests that if a country really wants to get ahead, it needs to look past those big, flashy, top-level numbers. The real answer might be in changing the game entirely.
And this new strategy revolves around a really cool idea called the long tail theory. You've probably heard of it in other contexts, like with Amazon or Netflix. The core idea is super simple. Instead of putting all your energy into one or two massive blockbuster hits that are supposed to appeal to everyone, you focus on cultivating a huge number of smaller, unique, niche products. The theory is that the combined power of all those little niches can actually be way bigger than the one or two big hits.
So let's bring this back to our example. For a country like Turkey, the traditional hit product has often been those big, all-inclusive beach resorts, right? Mass market tourism. But the long tail strategy says, wait a minute, let's focus on developing all the other incredible stuff we have. We're talking about specialized cultural heritage tours, ecotourism adventures in those supposedly low-ranked natural areas, deep dive food and wine trips, historical explorations, you get the picture. It's about building this rich, diverse portfolio of experiences that attracts all different kinds of travelers. Travelers who, by the way, are often looking for something unique and are willing to pay for it.
So really, what's the crucial point here? A country's tourism strength isn't just about what it's blessed with geographically or historically. It's not passive. It's an active, strategic process. It's about knowing what you have, managing those assets well, and then marketing the heck out of all of them, especially those hidden gems that make up that powerful long tail.
And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. Think about the place where you live. What are the untapped niche attractions hiding in plain sight? That amazing little restaurant, that quirky local museum, that beautiful hiking trail nobody knows about. What are the long-tail treasures in your own backyard that are just waiting to be discovered?